of the summer shining through. Calling on my friends, asking what's the move. Feeling a little different, I'm on something new. Today. I ain't gonna let no clouds get in my way. The only road I'm walking is the one I pick. Catch me sitting in the sun, no top of shade. Today. This is the day that the Lord has made. And I ain't gonna let it slip away. I'm gonna be joyful. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm gonna be joyful. Today, I'm gonna be joyful. Ooh, I'm gonna be joyful. I got the feeling that you get when you get new kicks. Bell ringing on the last day of singing, yeah. High-fiving everybody, but we out of here. Today. So fast, life comes and goes. Make it last, best slow your roll. They don't think it as a choice, but you gotta know that today's the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. And I ain't gonna let it slip away. Nah, I'm gonna be joyful. I'm gonna be joyful. Today, I'm gonna be joyful. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm gonna be joyful. Today, I got the joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the J-O-Y down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the joy down in my heart. Today.
How you doing? This is Mike from Mike's Random Thoughts. And this is just kind of like a weekly news update, if you will, and a show update. So, at any rate, let's start off with the fact that the Taliban is in the news. And you know what? It's no surprise, because this administration from the jump has been laxed on terrorism, both domestic and foreign. It's a fact. There's no way that you're going to be able to deny it. Now, naturally, a lot of people are going to come at you and be like, you can't say that because they did this or they did that. They haven't done nothing. The domestic terrorists are in and out. They're only arresting a small percentage of them. The ones they're arresting are major players, basically, normally involving money or explosives or something along those lines. So it's not by far not like they're doing a lot. So there's no surprise when they're bowing down to China, when they're bowing down to Russia, when they're bowing down to all these different aggressive foreign nations or have a history in previous time periods of being aggressive. When you're doing that, it's no surprise that this type of decision is going to happen. And as soon as they pulled out in the first place, every single person said, this is a mistake. All the military experts, all the political commentary experts, I'm talking about the big name shows, they all have been saying it. It's a mistake. You can't do it. And just like that, just like how everybody said would happen, they've done taken over everything. And I'm not talking about just a little bit. We're talking about all of the shipment that everybody was hearing about that was going to the Middle East. All the guns, drones, missiles, Humvees, military grade Jeeps and vehicles, planes, helicopters, everything. There's video footage of it. And I've even posted some myself. And it's just incredible. Like, they're basically like a fortified army now. Literally, they legit have the equipment to be a small little army. They have helicopters, they have drones, they have missiles, they have machine guns, assault rifles, they have pistols, they have ammunition. They have everything that basically the U.S. Embassy would need on hand right there. You know what I mean? Along with the military support around it, because they would supply military with support around the area. So, that's a problem. Boom. He has shown weak leadership throughout this thing. That's the reason why I've been saying from Jump Street, hey, say what you will. At this point, it's inedible. To me, if there isn't a massive red wave by 2024, then there is no more hope in the United States political system. Period. There just isn't. This administration has done far too much damage to actually warrant being elected in again. Even if they were, I think they stole it. But even if you're one of those people that say that they were elected in, I think they've done too much damage to actually warrant anything. I'm talking they've showed weak leadership amongst the COVID. They've showed weak leadership amongst the decisions around the economy around it. They've showed weak leadership skills among the border. They showed weak leadership skills among foreign policy with foreign leaders. They took American jobs and gave them to the Middle East. Everything they've done is anti-American and pro-overseas. They've literally turned their backs. This administration has turned their backs on the American people. They're all about themselves and appealing to foreign leaders. It's point blank. There's just no way you're going to change my mind, and there's no way you're going to change anybody else's mind. I'm going to bring us back to this point in just a little bit. Please try to bear with me, all right? Now, because I'm going to try to make this like a shorter episode. I'm going to explain why too. So, DHS, right? And granted, a lot of this started coming out for me. I started noticing it around August 12th, and it started getting big around August 14th. So, DHS, Department of Human Services, they have suggested that there is a need to make people who are opposed to the COVID vaccine and opposed to the COVID doctors, like the people that's doing the research, basically the people that's like, I don't even know about this disease. Well, now the Department of Human Services want to make it to where you're actually registered domestic terrorist. Now, if you notice, there was a lot of people, including some people at my church recently, was bringing it up, and they sent out a 3-step reporting system. And this reporting system is surely, basically, if you're a history buff, is very much like a socialist system, reporting system, where they can report family members, work colleagues, anybody they have a problem with, anything like that. Picture the Salem witchcraft trials on hyper mode. That's what you can expect with something like that. If that bill actually passes to where they could do that. Because I know that's what Biden's hinting at, by the way. When you see him reporting about, when you see him coming out saying, well, we're not sure what we can do, but we're going to see what we can do legally. That's the stuff he's talking about. That's why you need to be paying attention, because I got news for you. Y'all might think that it's just going after conservatives, but there's people out there that might got a problem with you. And I read it myself. It's real easy for anybody to paint this picture for anybody. Trust me, this is going to be like the Salem witchcraft trials, and it's going to be on hyper mode if this thing gets if these bills get passed. I'm just mark my words on that. It's been, and the reason why I could be like, look you straight in the face and tell you with such a confidence face is because by trial and error, time and time again, every single time that this socialist system that they're trying to get passed, those type of things get passed, it's a socialist system, and every single country that's ever done it has failed. Period. Point blank. There's facts to back it up, black and white. Literally. It's a failed system, and it's a socialist system. That's why in the previous episode I said what I said. People, it's time for you to wake up. You are seeing democratic socialism being tried out on our soil in real time right now. They may not be calling it that, but that's exactly what it is. That's what you're experiencing. That's what you're seeing. So get used to it, because if they stuff that they're passing that everybody is getting behind because of the big bold words or phrases or celebrities that get behind it, and you don't read really into it, it's going to be quite destructive for a lot of people. I'm not talking about just conservatives. I'm talking about everybody. Every single person that has a problem with somebody, it's going to be free for all. And I've seen it coming, so did a lot of other people. You know what I mean? And that's why we kept saying, brace yourself. It's just going to get more interesting. And it has, hasn't it? Well, guess what? It's just going to get more interesting from here. So anyways, now I believe on the last episode, I actually touched up on Obama's 60th birthday. Now, what I find interesting, personally, is, how is it that the man that's been so, wear your mask, do yourself a favor and be an American and wear your mask, right? Guess what he's being labeled? They're making memes of him right now across the globe and across the internet. It's already spreading. Obama, the super spreader. because of how many people got affected at his party. Now, the thing that I wanted to point out was the amount of people that was basically like hinting at something. Now, a lot of people take this as whatever. Me, I read deeper into it. And when I see that many people saying, chilling at Obama, forever President Obama's birthday party and forever First Lady Michelle Obama, that sends red flags to me. It really does. And the reason why it does is because, again, if you study history, guess what? In socialist systems, before they gathered, they had little elite parties just like that. And that's where they made their decisions on what they're going to do. That's why that part of it was so crucial to me. You know what I'm saying? But either which way you look at it, I'm past all of it. You know what I mean? There's been so much damage going on in America. Now, this is where I was trying to get to. Remember I said it's going to be a shorter episode. Now, I always say that, and people are used to me like, Mike says that and just keeps going, right? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just hitting this a couple times. Now, here's my issue. You guys have pushed the word racism so much and so hard. It made it to where everybody is so easily racist. Even people of color are racist now. You guys have pushed this word and definition so hard. You guys have ran it into the ground. It doesn't even have the same meaning as it used to. Most of the time when I hear somebody say, oh, that person's racist, I'm like, oh yeah, what'd he do? Piss in your fucking Fruit Loops? Like, you know what I mean? Bully you in high school or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gotten to that point. Like, it does not have the same effect. The word just doesn't even mean anything anymore. You know what I mean? That's just how far you guys have gone with it. And to be honest, even the LGBT community, like, originally, most of my life, I've actually been supporting most of the decisions I'm on that community. As long as they weren't trying to force their lifestyle on a religious organization and force their lifestyle on the American population, I was fine with it. I even said that back in the day. But now that's exactly what they're doing. They're forcing their lifestyle on churches. They're forcing their lifestyle on the American people. They're forcing their lifestyle on the general public, left and right, globally. And when I say globally, it's a huge word, and it should be, because that shows an agenda. And if there's an agenda, there has to be funding. And if there's funding on that level, it has to be coming from some type of more than just one organization. I just want to throw that out there. So that you guys have just been, we already covered the racist thing. So to me, let's get to the COVID thing real quick. So I have my feelings about it. And most people that have been paying attention to my show, and even the people that used to and don't anymore, they know my feelings about it. They haven't changed. Like, I've had family members that have gotten it, and I've had family members that got it that have got the vaccine. I got family members that have got it that haven't got the vaccine, and I got family members that haven't been affected with it. By far, I got a lot of them that were, and people around me. So I get how people are about it, and understand, I challenge anybody, go back to previous episodes, and I've always said, if there's health issues to where it does make you acceptable to it. I mean, it would make you acceptable to any type of flu variant, though. And that's a fact. You don't have to be a doctor to know that. That's just basic medical knowledge. If you're overweight, you're more acceptable to sickness. If you have high blood pressure, you're more acceptable to sickness. If you have any type of health issues like overweight or diabetes or blood pressure or anything like that, or elderly, it's going to make you more acceptable to diseases. It's just a fact. At least it used to be. It was more or less kind of one of those unspoken, if your mama raised you right, you just had common sense kind of facts. I mean, it really was. So, to me, I'm over all of that too. Like, I just don't care about it. You guys have talked about it so much to where I don't even really care what doctors say anymore. Nor scientists. Anybody in a health professional. Like, I respect what they do. And I mean, they're there for a reason. Like, you get shot, you get stabbed, you have issues. They're there for a reason. I respect what they do. Nobody could do what they do. These people, I believe, have a God-given gift to do what they do. Now, with that said, this is an agenda-driven thing, and anybody with common sense can see it. You don't have to keep harping on it 24 hours a day. I finally figured that out. Everybody knows that it's a conformity thing. Anybody with common sense knows it's about conformity at this point. It's about control. It's about loyalty to your state. Let me put that in there, Arnold Schwarzenegger. A man who I used to respect growing up. You know, a huge fan of his work. I even would play his motivational speeches. Straight up sounded like a socialist, man. And to me, it just sewed up everything to me. It sewed up my final consensus. It was finally like that last lace that needed to be laced up that made that decision for me. You know what I'm saying? To hear him say, screw your American freedom. Whoa, why don't you go back to Germany then? You know what I mean? I'm to the point to where that's how far they pushed it. It just does not matter to me. I feel like if you have any type of common sense, you could kind of see what it's all about. It's just a fact. Nobody can deny it anymore. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. There's too much evidence that it came out to support that. You know what I mean? And to be honest, as far as people always bring up Fauci, right? Well, as far as Fauci and even the World Health Organization is concerned, why is it that they're so flip-floppity? Why would I take their word for anything? This whole entire time has been one thing, nope, we changed our mind. One thing, nope, we changed our mind. One thing, we changed our mind. One thing, we changed our mind. So now you're going to bring me, most haters will come up and bring up the argument of, well, that's just how viruses work. Yeah, exactly. That's how viruses work. And that's why they test them in laboratories for around 7 to 10 years before they're actually approved by drug administrations across the globe for treatment. Now, they might allow people to do trials during that period of time, but they would never force it on them. So, you've lost all value of any argument at that point with me, because there's no way, medically, that you could justify that. In fact, many people in that profession are actually turning against their hypocritical oaths, and they know it. You know what I mean? That's a fact, too. Neither here nor there. I'm over it. I simply don't care. I have my opinion. You have yours. It is what it is. I feel like this thing is a division tactic, and I myself have fallen victim to it for far too long. And I feel like many other people are, and I feel like many other people are just as well waking up to it for exactly what it is. And with that said, I don't really think you need to go on much more about it. You know what I mean? You want to wear your mask, wear your mask. But don't be trying to make other people do shit that they don't want to do. This is America. We have our rights. You know what I mean? You don't like those rights? Go move to China, point blank. That's just how I see it. I'm going to be honest. That's just how I see it. Now, that's my political side. Now, with that said, you heard me say division, right? So that brings me to the reason why I was actually asked recently, because somebody actually noticed it, saying that I noticed you're posting sporadic. What that means is I go on there and it'd be randomly one day I'll do 20 articles everywhere. But then I won't do anything the next day, or if I do, it'll be 2 or 3 or, random numbers. The reason for that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Remember when I said earlier at the beginning of this, I was going to revert it back to the beginning, right? And that's what I'm doing right now. I've come to the conclusion that this administration is a socialist-driven, borderline communist, supported by China administration. I've come to the conclusion that it is driven by deep-seated socialists within our government that try to make people lose hope and faith in our system, which I won't until 2024, until I see the results of then. Only then will I lose hope up to this point. Because I see it for what it is. It's doing nothing more than causing division. I mean, honestly. How else could you look at it? Really? When you got the Los Angeles school Union of Los Angeles School District one of the biggest school unions in North America coming out and saying that kids that aren't vaccinated, right, have to wear a mask, and kids that are vaccinated don't have to wear a mask. And I granted they might have changed their mind, I think, but on the same token, when I first read that decision that they were trying to get passed, I was like, have you lost your mind? Because if you understand intelligently, if you understand basic psychology, then you understand what that is. You are literally creating a generation of separatists. So you're literally raising them to be division driven, not united, division driven, not united, complete opposite. That's what that showed me. So now they're really jumping up on that. But it really brought me back to a long time ago, somebody who I would consider somebody with a tinfoil hat on his head, you know what I mean? Somewhere in some dark room or something, like, told me a long time ago about Obama Youth Corps, and I was like, yeah, it sounds just like the Hitler Youth Corps, which is why I was kind of like, I don't like the guy either, but kind of like, about it. But honestly, the way some of these programs are being read into, like if you look at CRT, I'm talking about if you really look at CRT for what it is, get past, let the hatred go for a minute, no matter which way you're looking at it, and just look at the core aspect of it. Read into it with an open mind, without any type of thought process, as if you just discovered something in a newspaper for the very first time. And then really start looking into it, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. It is very much a socialist. In fact, that's why so many people have been leaving the military. Because, and quote unquote, they didn't sign up to support socialism. Now, you've heard me say that before. Because they don't want to do what they feel like they know they have to do. Now, I don't think they're saying anything about it, if they are going to do anything. I don't know. I'm not one of those people. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what they're going to do. But what I can tell you is this. If they wanted to come on, if they declare martial law and they brought out the National Guard to round out people, let me just tell you this. At that point, there's absolutely nothing you're going to be able to do. You know what I mean? Literally. There's a lot of people saying, well, hell, I'll shoot it out, blah, 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 blah. But look, they're going to have people in vehicles on both ends of the street, on the other street. It's going to be an organized effort. At that point, there's not going to be anything you can do. That I know. You know what I mean? So, the only thing you can do is keep moving forward, pay attention to what they're doing, vote them out in your state primaries right now in 2022, and vote red in 2024. I'm to the point to where I've even told people I know, I no longer even care. I'm just voting fucking red. I'm sorry for my language, I'm working on it. I'm just voting red the whole way around. Like, the Democratic Party has done so much damage to our nation. At this point, I don't even care what they say or do. I'm voting them out on my end. I don't care. I don't even care. They've done so much damage and showed so much open hatred towards the American people, so much open hatred towards God, and so much open hatred towards so many things I've stood for, and showed support for things that I've stood against, including China and other communist countries that don't get mentioned. That's my plan, is I'm just going to vote them out. And you know what? I get it, guys. There's a lot of people saying, come on, be real. That might come down to this. Yeah, it might. But what are you going to do to stop it? Unless you are financially stable enough to actually be part of a well-funded militia. I'm not talking about your group of neighborhood guys with guns. I'm talking about an organized, well-funded, intelligent militia. Not your random schmucks with guns running around talking about, hot damn, I'm going to get them. No, that ain't who I'm talking about. Unless you got access to that, and people that can do that, you got to write it out. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly. And don't even get me started about list. There's somebody that recently messaged me about it, and I was like, honestly, if you've been doing podcasting, if you've been doing blogging, if you've been doing independent journalism, and you've done it with your own religious beliefs, if you're a Christian, if you're Jewish, and you've done it with your own beliefs, you've stood by what your principles are, you're probably already on it anyways. And if you've done anything on Facebook and got flagged for it over 5 or 6 times, you're probably on the list anyways. So, you know what? It ain't gonna matter. It just ain't. What good is it gonna do you worrying about it? Give yourself a heart attack? Give yourself an anxiety / panic attack? Because you're tripping over something that you can't stop anyways, that's inedible? You gotta write it out. Too many people are tripping about stuff they can't. That's what I finally realized. There's too many people tripping over stuff that they can't fix themselves. They think they're going to be able to, but they ain't going to be able to fix nothing. They're just using them. And when they're done using them, they're going to step on them and chew them up and spit them out just like they always have and throughout all the time in history. You know what I'm saying? So people need to learn to start fighting this stuff the right way. You remember back before the Democrats turned socialist and they said, trust the system and vote them out, vote them out, vote them out. Yeah, before they turned socialist, you got to remember that. That's what you got to do. Go back to that mind frame of thinking, because that's the only way you're going to be able to fix it, man. And that's really about as far in the politics as I really want to get to, because I feel like it's like a broken record. Unless it's going to be Taliban related at this point, I just feel like it's a broken record. I mean, really, what the hell good is it going to do at this point other than piss off other people you know? You know what I'm saying? Honestly. Here's my thing. If I get a wild hair, I'm going to share something. But honestly, I'm trying to get past it, because one night I was getting ready to post some articles. And it wasn't even that long ago. And I was thinking about some stuff, and I caught a feeling. When you catch a feeling, like Pastor Stephen Furtick said one time, when you catch a feeling, you feel it, you know? And sorry, that's just the best way to describe it, man. And that's what happened. You know, I was getting ready to post this stuff and it wasn't setting right with me. And even though I felt like I was exposing the truth and like showing the truth to people and showing what they're actually doing, at the same time, I asked myself, am I doing more by sowing division than I am by unity? You get what I'm saying? And I think this is more or less a faith issue. So at this point, brace yourself. So here's my thing. You're going to see a lot less of me posting news articles and stuff. And that's nothing else other than me realizing it's just a waste of time. You're basically feeding into the system the negativity that they're bringing in. They're bringing in the negativity. You're bringing out the negativity. They bring it in. You serve it back out. So it's okay to do that once in a while if you stand by a principle. But when you suck into it all the time, I realized something. You're doing nothing but contributing to the division. Now, granted, I'm not saying go out there and be a sap and let people step on you. That's not what I'm saying. If you want to stand by something and you full-heartedly believe in what you're standing for, then stand for it. Allergies, man, but a dry cough. Anyways, but stand for it. But understand this, when you're stand for it, this is America. There might be somebody else that disagrees with what you got to say. And you got 2 choices when that happens. Either 1, have an intelligent conversation with them, right? Or 2, let it go and move along. Because at that point, there's only option 3. And option 3 ain't going to do nothing other than cost you time away from your family. Most states have laws now to where they arrest both parties for fighting. Now, let me ask you something. Any one of these chumps out here that you've been reading about, all these Antifa, BLM, terrorists, division tactics, all these different people, any one of these type conservatives even, any one of these type of people worth you losing night away from your family and losing pay at your job, are any one of them actually worth it? Now I'm asking you a very real question. any one of them actually worth that. You know what I mean? Because that's time you're not going to get back. And that's money you ain't going to get back. I'm just being real with you. So I say this now. I'm past the politics side of it because the politics have been damaged to the point to where there's no turning around. I'm sorry. Unless something happens in 2024, it's done with, dude. Like, at this point, I'm latching on to what I believe in and my faith, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do an announcement at some point in time, not saying when or where and what it's about. It's just going to be an announcement, which I'm excited about. There's only about 4, I'm going to be honest, there's only 4 people that know about that. And those 4 people I trust, you know what I'm saying? And they're actually spread apart. But at any rate, I'm getting back to my core aspect of community and beliefs because I woke up one day and realized, you know what I'm saying? Too many people are hating on each other for stupid stuff. I mean, how much of this stuff at one point did we just go, man, you nuts? And you went about it however which way you want to go about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but now it's just rampant. Like, I get it. There needs to be things that's fixed. I've covered it. I'm honestly not going to sit here for another 10 minutes and go into the stuff I've already covered over the past episodes. I got a bad reputation of that. I'm not doing that right now. I've already covered that part. But so, yeah, there is things that need to be fixed. And I agree with a lot of the things that honestly, there's some of the things that these movements have said. Some of it I actually agree with, but majority of it I don't. Only a tad bit when I say somewhat. Don't get all excited now. I'm saying only like about that much. You know what I'm saying? Just indeed a bit. But with that said, because there are things that need to be fixed within our legal system. That's a fact, man. I got family members that's locked up in prison that are wrongfully in prison right now. You know what I'm saying? I got family that need to be there, but I also got family that are wrongfully in prison in there right now. So I get it. The system's broken. It needs to be fixed. There's a lot of this stuff I'll actually agree with, but a lot of it, really with me, it's more or less the way it went down. Like, the socialist, Marxist, extremist side of it, you lost me. You know what I mean? Point blank, man. So I'm past all of it. Like, I'm latching on to what I believe in. I'm going to do what I got to do for my family. And as far as my show goes, I'm going to keep it moving eventually. I'm not saying when or where right now. There's a lot of stuff I'm doing right now. I'm not, let me put it like this. I got to say this real quick. I got to know a lot of people online within different communities over the past 4 or 5 years. Really interesting and actually cool people. Most of them are, almost damn near all of them actually, are solid as can be as my eyes. With that said, though, we still disagree on politics and different things like that. So I'm going to let bygones be bygones on that issue because, like I said, I'm back to focusing on, I see the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking back to how it used to be, where you could actually agree to disagree kind of thing. And I think that's the point where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? If you want to support socialism, support it. I'm not going to. My kids aren't gonna do it. I really not gonna tolerate it being around anybody I know. However, with that said, I'm also, I don't believe in the violent side of it anymore, man. I just don't. There's too much damage that's been done, and I'm past it now at this point. So I think that all of us need to get back to community aspect. You know what I mean? What was it in your community before all this stuff happened that you liked? Now, I'm talking about, ask yourself this question. Before all this stuff started, what was it about your neighborhoods and your community that you liked? Was it going to the park? Was it taking your kids to family members' houses? Was it going to a certain restaurant you liked? Was it going to a bar? You know what I mean? Everybody has something they like to do in their neighborhood. Everybody. I don't even care if you're a recluse. Even a recluse likes to go to the coffee shop to pick up coffee once in a while. Everybody has some place that they like to go to. What was it in your neighborhood that you like to do? What was it that gave you a sense of pride where you lived at? You know what I mean? Pride is a bad thing to a certain point, but you're supposed to have pride in your community to me. You know what I mean? Like, what was it about it that you had pride in your community? What was it about it that gave your community strength? And why? What about all of this have you allowed in your own personal life to cause division? You get what I'm saying? I don't care if you're conservative or if you're liberal. I don't care if you're right or if you're left. I don't care if you support these movements or if you don't. I don't care if you're Republican or you're Democrat or you're independent. I don't care. That's not this kind of question. You know what I mean? You got to ask yourself, get outside of your political ideology and ask yourself, do you see the division yet? When you answer these questions, you should see the division that they're sowing within your own community. And if you live in certain communities over a period of time, I guarantee you, if things aren't fixed, it's going to get worse. Now, spiritually, I actually feel like everything's happening for a reason. Some of these reasons I'm not going to announce until a later time, possibly a way later time. Like I said, I'm not going to say when. I'm going to toy around with different ideas. I've been doing primarily politics for a good long minute, man. So I'm stepping back from that for a minute. And saying that, we all know how I am. There might be a wild hair here and there, but I'm going to try to lay off of it off and on because it's just causing too much division everywhere, man. And I just see, I feel it every time, like you're sowing back into it. You know, you reap what you sow kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing that kind of thing. If all you're about is the craziness and drama, that's what you're going to get back, craziness and drama. Now, as far as my faith goes, I have faith that all of this is going to happen for a reason, and that's why I'm not stressing about it. I actually believe that we're in the beginning. I'm not going to, and there's no saying on spiritual time. Spiritual time is not like our time. You know what I mean? So I believe there's a possibility that we could be in the beginning signs of the end times. And the reason why I say that is because of the way the lifestyles are. If you look at it, it simply is just simple. It's self-indulgence and it's simple. It's perversion. When you could see a video of a man being walked on all fours in New York City, and there's a school bus across the street, because it's like around 3:30, 4 o'clock or something like that. But you could see him with that ball gag, like a BDSM ball gag, and a woman walking him on all fours. There's a problem in our society, okay? Point blank. There's a problem in our society. I don't care if that's your lifestyle or not. Keep it inside. Nobody needs to let their kids be exposed to that simply because you want to get your nuts off real quick. Sorry about you. You know what I mean? There's little kids around here that don't need to be exposed to it. And that's that. That's part of the community aspect, though. What is a community? This is something I'm going to be thinking about now for a minute. But we got to get back to the community aspect. We got to get back to community thinking, and we got to get back to unity. And to get back to that, a lot of people are going to have to swallow a lot of hard pills. And these pills are not going to be easy to swallow for a lot of people. But until they do it, none of it's going to be fixed. Because the problem is, so many groups have been allowed to get what they want. And just like a little kid, you know, if you give a child who's throwing a temper tantrum, if you give them what they want, they're not going to learn anything. And guess what? Next time they want something, what's going to happen? Any parent's going to be able to tell you, man. They're going to throw a fit again, and they're going to be stuck in the same situation. So the government basically gave in to all these domestic terrorists that were crying and crying and crying. And guess what? Well, now they threw more fits, and now they want even more. And now they want even more. And now they want even more. Blah, 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 blah. Like I said, it's a revolving freaking cycle at this point. You can almost predict it. Like, they're like, oh, some chaos erupted over in California. Oh, what? I mean, you take a wild guess. I'll give you 5 options. I guarantee you it's going to be one of them. It's gotten that bad. Do you understand that? It's gotten that predictable. So it's boring. It's so predictable now. Like, even that's just me on a personal political side. And plus, on my spiritual side, I think it's all destined anyways. That's why I keep saying, man, buckle up. It's just going to get worse. It really is. So if you believe in Jesus, I recommend getting back into your church. If you're able to go in person, get back to your church. And if you're a Christian, you haven't found a church, find one. You know, it's not necessarily important to go to, like, a lot of people say, oh, what, you're one of those Christians that believe that you have to go to a church. Look, my issue is this. Like, the Bible says there's 7 days in a week, right? And you go through a lot. This is a busy time frame of life that we live in. A lot of things happen in 6 days. Now, why did I say 6 days? Because in the Bible, it says you should go to church and fellowship. It doesn't even say church. It says you should go fellowship amongst like-minded individuals to rekindle ye faith when you feel beaten and trodden. Trodden means when you feel stepped on. So, but above that, he's talking about making disciples upon the nation. So ultimately, as Christians, what we should be doing is focusing on our religion right now, praying a lot. You should be praying a lot. You should be on a steady prayer diet. And to... Sorry, I kind of got into something there, but you should be on your steady prayer diet. You should fellowship amongst your like-minded individuals. And if you have any malice towards anybody, let it go. Make peace with them or let it go. If you're not able to make peace with them, let it go. Move on from it. Time's going to be too short right now. I think we've proven that. There's been too many things that could happen. Think about it. If you live in one of these type of neighborhoods that we've been talking about, how easy is it to walk out your door and get shot? There was just a 12-year-old kid just a week ago that got shot, people. In the wrong place at the wrong time. He was just there. And it's rampant. Like, people are walking in the stores. It could be your mom. Like, think about it. Say your grandfather owned the store. A lot of people down here in the Midwest or down south, a lot of people have family members that own little mom and pop stores, right? Well, check this out. These people wanted to be able to be like this. They're walking in there and just walking out with as much stuff as they want to and just smiling at them walking out. That's how you want to live? Come on, man. Not to sound cliche. But that's how you want to live, for real? For real, for real? That's ridiculous. I refuse to live in fear. That's a huge thing I'm about. You cannot live in fear, and that's what they want you to live like. Because if they can control you, if you're afraid. That's the purpose of a fear program. What is a fear program? A fear program is where they're dishing out fear. Even on a spiritual level, if you're a Christian, you know what I'm talking about. The devil is the master of what? Tricks and lies, deceit, pulling a wool, white lies, whatever it may be. But that's exactly what it is. It's just all I could go back and forth on it. I probably have already in this episode, man. That's why I'm trying not to do this as much until I can get back to where I'm trying to go to, which will be an announcement later on. Because I am focused on something. I'm going to say that towards the end of the episode, actually. So anyways, I'm probably going to cut this short. I already got kind of off track. So let me go into the update part. Sorry, I've been looking at my notes. Started writing down just like for these off the tops, the little guidelines. But anyways. So as far as the show update goes, you guys can expect different things. I'm going to go back to toying around with different artistic ideas I used to do. So you guys might see some of my personal writings. If you follow my different social media platforms, you might be able to see, you can expect some more of my poetry that I used to write. I haven't wrote in years. I've actually, had a writer's block for over 10 years. But stuff I've wrote in the past, you might see that pop up on social media. You'll see different artistic stuff I'm doing. You can expect more off-the-top episodes. They're going to be sporadic. They're not going to be leaning. I'm going to try to not lean political. This is supposed to be really short, but I wanted to explain really in depth the reasoning behind my decision. It's just because of that personal realization, real short and sweet, man. It's kind of like this. And again, it's Pastor Stephen that said this, and I actually will never forget it. I think it was the same sermon that he actually preached this at. But have you ever noticed when you can wake up in a good mood, right? And you have your cup of coffee, if you're a coffee drinker, but wherever it is, you're doing your morning constitution, whatever it is, you're in a good mood and you go on social media and you're scrolling, right? And you catch that feeling of negativity. And that catch of negativity just triggers into another negativity thing. So it's like a cycle of it. I'm not saying get off of social media. I'm not. I'm on social media. So, I mean, how could I'd be a hypocrite for telling you that. So no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just be mindful of how you're using it and what you're doing. Because I started noticing that feeling is nonstop. You know, like you're constantly in a state of anxiety and madness and anger. And it was something that took me a long time to actually realize. Now, it's hard for me to do this, but there's some people that try to raise that point up to me off and on. And so those people, if you're listening later on, that's my way of saying I understand what you're saying now. It was something I didn't realize until I started catching those vibes and catching those feelings. But yeah, man, I see it for what it is. It's a lot of division tactics. We got to get back to community. We got to get back to unity. And to get back to community and unity, unfortunately, we got to lay off a lot of this craziness. There's too much craziness. Lay off the craziness and get back to the basic. If we can get back to basic, we can get back to community and get back to unity. That's all I'm trying to say. So, at this point, that's all I'm going to say about it. So you can expect some off the tops. It's not going to be. I'm not saying an official schedule still, because honestly, I got a lot of stuff I got to get done still, man. I got to get this house painted still too. It's something I'm intending to do, and some other repairs that need to be done. So I'm going to take some. Basically, what I'm saying is, you can expect me to be sporadic. I'm not going to be like. It's kind of like being here without being here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be randomly popping up. You'll never know when it's going to be. You know what I mean? It'll just be random whenever I decide to do something. And that's literally that. So, like I said, everybody's got to chase their happiness. I can't emphasize that enough right now. If something makes you happy, chase your happiness, but make sure you're being healthy and mentally ready for that. So, like I said, oh, and if you're not a Christian, it doesn't matter if you're not a Christian. It doesn't matter what faith you are. If you're, whatever faith you are, getting back to your basics, to what you stood for in your community. You know what I'm saying? And even if you don't believe in anything at all, you just believe in science, get back to your community. Get back to what makes you happy. Go back to those places, revisit them and see before it's all gone. Because honestly, at this point, it's just going to get worse. I mean, I could come up here every single day and go over news headlines. And, you know, it's going to be terrorist attack, international terrorist attack, domestic terrorist attack, BLM this, Antifa that. Biden did another socialist agenda. Harris did something ignorant. The border's wide open and nobody's doing anything about it. Fentanyl's getting out of control. We still need to stand by our law enforcement community. Like I said, a broken record. Do you get what I'm saying yet? And if you're just listening to a broken record, you're not, you know, it's just bump, bump, bump. So I don't know what I'm trying to say, man. That's just where I'm at with it. But at any rate, this been Mike from Mike's Random Thoughts. Peace, love, and good vibes. Everybody have a good night. Like I said, man, just get back to what makes you happy, whatever that might be. And if you're of the same faith as me, get back to your church and get back to your community. I can't emphasize that enough. Again, Mike from Mike's Random Thoughts. Peace, love, and good vibes. I'm out.